I wonder. I just can't help but wonder. The title that I put on this show, the Jets' six-step path to the sixth seed in the playoffs. Could it actually be a real possibility? Could it actually happen? Well, we're going to get into some Jets talk tonight. We're going to talk about the playoffs and we're going to talk about Tankathon. We're going to break all of it down, but you know what it is right now. It's Wednesday night. It's 10 p.m. and we are live. Well. Welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media, everybody. I'm watching K99. Thank you, as always, for joining me, whether you're watching the videos in retro, if you're watching the Wednesday night show live. Man, I appreciate everybody's time, everybody's support. It means the world. Thank you so much. But the highlight is always Wednesday night doing the live show. I get to interact with you crazy nuts. We get to go back and forth, talk about whatever's going on in the world of New York sports with decidedly distinct Jets flavor. But we are going to get into a whole lot of New York Jets tonight. We will talk a playoff path. I've got two breakdowns for you that you're going to want to stay tuned for. The six-step path, easy for me to say, to the Jets getting the sixth seed in the AFC. It is possible. And also let's call it not the easiest, but the simplest path the Jets could have to making the playoffs with 4 weeks left to go. So we're going to get into all of that. Just got to let everybody know, as always, as we play the ticker down below, we will be doing Jets versus Jets trivia a little bit later. I got a really good Jets-Dolphins question for you tonight. And remember, I do have one favor to ask. Well, two. One, share with the channel with a friend, share the broadcast with a friend. The more the merrier here. And also remember to hit that thumbs up button. The last 2 weeks we have spun the wheel, and it has been a whole lot of fun. I got a couple of different jet wheels. People wonder what kind of topics I have. Well, I got a couple of different wheels, but I have 5 right now. And if we have at least 15 likes by the end of the stream tonight, by after we do the trivia, well, we're going to spin the wheel a little bit later on, but I need your likes in order to do that. So that's the deal tonight. All right, so we're going to get into the football in a little bit. But first, let's talk about what's on my mind with a little bit of 3 and out. So the first thing I want to talk about is the New York Rangers. Now, I got a few things to say about this team right now. That loss the other night against Toronto on Tuesday night at Madison Square Garden, a 7-3 butt whipping, was one of the worst losses I've seen this year. But it still doesn't even compare with the absolute atrocity I witnessed when I went down to Washington, D.C., an arena that's not going to even be there in about 4 years because the Capitals and the Wizards are moving to Alexandria, Virginia. All right. Well, hey, thank you, Mr. Governor, being that I'm in Virginia. But the Rangers lose to a team missing 3 top-level defensemen. They've got a third-string goalie making his first start of the year. Now, every team goes through a rough stretch like this. Vegas does, Boston does, Colorado does. But the Rangers defense the last 2 weeks or so has been an absolute eyesore. They're 4-4 in their last 8 games, and they have been outscored 33-23 while allowing 5 goals or more in half of those contests. And goalie Igor Shesterkin, who's had a great start to his career, he is shaken right now. You know, the Rangers have lost 3 in a row, where Shesterkin has allowed 15 goals with an .839 save percentage. His goals against per game is over 5. And I'll tell you what, that game that I went to in D.C., when Washington scored 43 seconds, I believe it was, into the game, I should have left right then. I should have left the building right then and driven the 3 hours home. down to South Virginia. The highlight of my night in D.C. was being right in the corner for warm up. A little fist pump, like Nick Bonino giving me a little fist tap with his glove. But man, oh man, what a lousy night that was in D.C. But hey, the food was good. But Shesterkin, he just looks really, really frustrated. I mean, he is apologizing in pressers about not knowing why he's struggling. I'll tell you what, the Rangers got Anaheim on Friday, then Boston on Saturday. They got to figure this out, and quickly. All right. On to a little bit of baseball. And I do want to congratulate, I know in the chat right now, I know we've got a couple of Yankee fans, at least one or two that I know of. And I do want to congratulate the Yankees on getting Juan Soto. He was introduced via Zoom. Not taking a shot at that. The Mets did the same thing with Max Scherzer a couple of years ago. And it's going to be a very exciting time when the Yankees have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the same outfield. But the question is, how long will they have him? Because, I watched a little bit of the presser. I read the quotes because I wanted to see what Juan Soto was really saying. He's not going to say too much in the presser. He doesn't want to give the New York media, the social media types, the fan base, anything to really, really run with. But Soto was asked a question about playing baseball alongside Aaron Judge as his teammate. And this is what Soto said, and I'm reading the quote for you guys. All right? It's going to be amazing. It's going to be really fun to see him play, hitting and playing the outfield. I'll try to pick his mind when I'm there and try to enjoy the moment while I'm there, end quote. Those are the three words, while I'm there. Okay? And here's the other key. His agent is Scott Boras, the most ruthless agent, maybe not just in baseball, but in all of pro sports. Now, I'm not saying there's no way that he doesn't sign a long-term deal with the Yankees ultimately. Soto very well signed 10 years, 12 years when all is said and done. But here's what I am saying. It will not happen before the end of the 2024 baseball season. He will test the market, just like I think Pete Alonso might do as well. And then who knows? Can you imagine if Soto and Alonso, a huge Yankee free agent and a huge Mets free agent, both get to free agency? Well, I guess the Dodgers will sign both of them and sign them to like $1 million a year and for $1 billion. They'll be able to have Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Soto, and Alonso on the team and Freddie Freeman at the same time. Would it really shock anybody? I mean, I didn't think there was a team in sports I could hate more than the Atlanta Braves. Okay, that is just the truth of it. And if my father sees this, it's true. Sorry. But I have despised the Braves for 30, 35 years. Okay, almost as long as I've been a baseball fan. But the Los Angeles Dodgers may be surpassing that level. That is just how unlikable the Dodgers. And I haven't hated the Dodgers. I've never been a Dodger hater. I'm getting there, but I'll tell you this. I'm planning on going to LA for the Mets series. I believe it's going to be in May. I am planning on going to California, go to the brewery where they have the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull beer, try some of that, have the first French dip sandwich ever made in the United States at Felipe's. I got all kinds of things in mind, but oh my gosh, I want to go to Dodger Stadium and watch this. This is going to be interesting. Okay, so before I get into number 3, let's say a couple quick hellos to the folks in the chat. Matthias Simon, he left his comment about 24 hours ago. Definitely first by a long shot. Wondering where Dakota is. I mean, hey, Dakota's always around. It's hard to find too many Jet shows where Dakota isn't making his presence felt. The great Jets mess, big Yankee fan. And I'm glad that you're a fan of the show, man. I'm a fan of yours. I'm glad you're here. We've got Eric Wallace. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Billy SBC. Wicked good. Go forward. Move ahead. However the song went. Vervain, big New Jersey Devils fan. Jets will squish the fish, man. I got to tell you, we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to say I don't necessarily think that you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. So I'm going to leave it at that for right now. And his Devils not doing too good on D. They've allowed almost 100 goals already. Yeah, I felt the losses of Damon Severson and Ryan Graves would be an issue. And I know they wanted to try to get a goalie like a Connor Hellebuck from Winnipeg, but I got to tell you, as a Ranger fan, I was relieved when Winnipeg signed Hellebuck to an extension because I dreaded the idea of him going to the New Jersey Devils. I did not want to see him in that division at all. But imagine that would have been. Can you imagine the three goalies in the metropolitan region being Igor Shesterkin, Ilya Sorokin, and Connor Hellebuck? That would have been impressive. But in my mind, until the Devils upgrade the goalie position a little bit, they'll be a legit playoff team, but they're not going to be a Stanley Cup contender, in my opinion. That's just how I feel. I know he was a huge loss for you, but man, they had to. You can't keep everybody, and they did keep a lot of players. You know, they kept who did they keep? Hurdle. They had to re-sign Jesper Bratt, guys like that. So Tyler Toffoli was a good addition too, and even some of the role players like Eric Holla and Michael McLeod. You know, you had to let some players go, and I think you're taking your growing pains right now with Luke Hughes. You know, Jack's brother. You know, very good offensive defenseman, pretty good on defense, but still a very raw piece of clay that has to be molded. But I think Lindy Ruff could do it. And also the great Hank G. Good to see you, my friend. And Harlan Abraham. Damn right, Harlan. I'm talking about the 6th seed tonight. And tonight, I'm going to give you a realistic path of how it could happen. Believe me, this is how much time I have on my hands. I actually spent time on the playoff scenario generator figuring out a realistic way it could happen. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying it is possible. I am going to tell you it's possible. All right, number 3, I'm going to talk a little New York Giants right now. Why don't just a little bit on this? And Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, all this stuff. The NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Nice little story. It's a cute little story. It almost reminds me of Mike White Part 2. You know, is anybody else getting just a little bit tired of this? Am I the only one who doesn't really need to hear about Tommy DeVito every 5 minutes? Like it's the only good thing going on in New York sports right now. Okay, the Giants have 3 wins in a row, just like the 3 and out right here. You know, 3 and out. I think that's going to summarize the New York Giants this week. You got 3 wins, 2 of which were against horrible teams in the Washington Commandskins and the New England Patriots. Very good win over Green Bay. But remember, the Giants still have the 2nd hardest schedule remaining in the NFL going forward. And it starts this Sunday. Let's see them go down to the Big Easy into the Superdome and beat the New Orleans Saints and that defense, okay, with a raucous crowd that is still hanging on for a spot to win the NFC South, that absolute joke of a division. Then can they beat the Eagles in Philadelphia, a team that owns their soul? Then they got the Rams. Hey, the Rams have won 3 out of 4 games, almost beat the Ravens last week in Baltimore, took them to overtime, and it took a special teams touchdown to beat them. And then they get the Eagles again to end the season in East Rutherford. Now, I know they're 1 game out of the last wild card spot, but they still have 4 teams to pass. By the way, so do the Chicago Bears. Okay, and let's say the Giants win 2 of the games, and they get to 7 wins or so. They go 2-2 in the last 4. That'd be pretty respectable. What do you really have at quarterback? Next year, are the Giants going to have an open competition with Tommy DeVito and Daniel Jones? You know, Danny Dimes against Tommy Cutlets? Or are they drafting a quarterback? They're going to have a very, very interesting decision to make. But please, can we stop with the playoff talk? The Giants are not, I repeat, not making the playoffs. And I think the New Orleans Saints are going to reinforce that when they hand the Giants a little 3 and out of their own. All right, guys. So that is it for the 3 and out. And now let's get into what I think more than a few of you are here to talk about. Let's talk about the green and white. So everybody, let's chant it together. Come on. Oh, doesn't it make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside to hear that? Oh my gosh, the New York Jets. You know, it was one of those games against Houston. I mean, I felt like if they played the way they were capable of, they would win. But it seems like I have felt that way for the last 5 weeks. You know, but I said I could not pick the Jets to win a game until the offense finally showed some signs of life. And it's easy to forget that first half was 11 punts in a row, no score. The Jets scored 30 points in 29 minutes. Super, super amazing. A thing that none of us saw coming. And I do have to mention the Virginia Jets fans. What a great time we had. We had our Ring of Honor ceremony We have a legitimate like Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame. We inducted 5 new members. Got to see some people we haven't seen in a long time. It was just an absolute great time, no doubt about it. But let's take a look at kind of where the Jets where they kind of rank overall. Let's talk a little bit of DVOA, the defensive adjusted value over average, so we can not only get a feel for the yards and the points and all of this stuff, but it puts it all in context, puts it all in perspective. You know, how did you do in this situation? How'd you do on this drive, considering the opponent? How good of a performance was it? Really? All right, so let's go to the DVOA numbers. So the Jets, despite that great second half, are still ranked as the worst offense in the NFL, just like they were last week. The defense did not change at all either. They are ranked third, so that has not changed. Cleveland and Baltimore, the only 2 defenses currently ranked ahead of the Jets. Now, special teams took a little bit of a jump. They went up 3 spots to 8. And the 2 teams they passed were the Chargers and the Eagles. I'm sorry, the Chargers and the Eagles are the only 2 teams with special teams ranked higher than the Jets. Okay, and overall they went up from 28 to 24th. So I guess that's pretty encouraging. So if you feel happy about going from 28 to 24, rock on. Okay, so one thing I will say that looks pretty encouraging, not a whole lot of injuries to talk about with the Jets. Carter Warren and Max Mitchell not currently practicing. You know, who knows? Maybe we'll have our 14th offensive line combination coming up, 13th, 14th. I mean, it is crazy with the way that the Jets have had to adjust their offensive line. And, you know, the more I think about it, the harder it is for me to blame the coaches. It really, really is. When you have an offensive line that is constantly in flux, when you have skill position players where you've only got I'd say about 3 legitimate weapons, you know, we saw what these other quarterbacks did. And I think more than anything, if I had to knock the coaching staff, I would say Nathaniel Hackett has been too slow to adjust to the times. Okay, whether it's changing the personnel, changing the formations, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But I think the Jets have just taken too long to adjust things, and that is on the coaching staff, not just on the front office when it comes out to looking for another quarterback. Because I think one reason why Joe Douglas didn't do it was because he felt Zach Wilson was better than any other quarterback he could have gotten. Now, Josh Dobbs has completely come back to earth, okay? And it took a long time to see what Zach was capable of, but I think Douglas was really betting on upside, you know, on the potential. And it's taken a long time, and, you know, we've seen what I would call great half. You know, he's had a few good moments here and there. The Kansas City game was good. He's had some other moments, but he put his best half of football together that he has played in the NFL, but now he's got to do it again. And I hate to say this, but possibly up his trade value. These last 4 games are going to be a big deal. A big deal. So while we're talking about that offense, let's talk about some snap counts and see who's trending up and who's trending down. First, we're starting with the offense. So first of all, the Jets had 68 snaps, the exact same as they did last week against the Falcons, I believe. Breece Hall, 42 snaps, down 4 from the previous week. Dalvin Cook, 16 snaps, down 2. All right, Nick Bawden, I was so happy to see. I've been ringing the bell for Nick Bawden for a while. Nick Bawden, 22 snaps, up 19 from the last week. You know, pretty much every game this year, Nick Bawden has had single-digit snaps, but he got a lot more playing time, 22 snaps. I was happy to see that. And Israel Abanikanda was pulled out of the mothballs. He was allowed to have 5 snaps on the field. Okay. So then at tight end, Tyler Conklin, you know, his time actually went down quite a bit. 38 snaps, a little bit more than half. Jeremy Ruckert got a lot more playing time, 33, went up 5 snaps, played about half the time. Kenny Yeboah, wasn't it good to see Kenny Yeboah back on the field? You know, I'm not saying he's Tony Gonzalez or anything, but he's a very good special teams player. He can block pretty well, and I still think, and he still does have some receiving ability. He just hasn't been using that role yet. But he got 23 snaps. I think that's pretty cool that he got that much time. So, and we're going to get into the formations in a moment, but we'll finish this off. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, 62 snaps, missed 6. Allen went down 6 from last week. Allen Lazard's time went up substantially, 49 snaps, up 17, although it felt like you barely even noticed he was on the field. Xavier Gipson's time went down quite a bit, only 30 snaps. So Lazard got a lot of Gibson's time in there. Irv Charles had 2 snaps. Randall Cobb with 13. He got back into the game, and congratulations on his first Jets touchdown. And Jason Brownlee did not play in this particular game due to injury. Okay, so pretty interesting to see the way that Gibson had less time, but he still did score a touchdown in this game. Laken, now onto the offensive line. This one's just crazy. All right, Laken Tomlinson, Jason Hanson, and Mekhi Becton played all 68 snaps. And I got to give Jason Hanson some credit. I mean, I thought he was the kicker from the Lions from way back when, right? But Tomlinson's been an absolute rock. Hanson came in and, I felt he held up relatively well. Becton, what can I really say? Right now, what I would say about Becton, I don't think his ankle is doing well right now. I think he came back too early. He felt like he had to play. He has this injury-prone label on him that he knows he needs to shed as he heads into free agency. Okay? So Becton did play. I give him credit for that. Joe Tippmann played 62 snaps, came out for 6. Chris Glazer substituted for him when he went out, but thankfully Tippmann did come back in. And then Max Mitchell played 44 snaps, and Billy Turner came in for the remaining 24. And Dwayne Brown snuck in there with 5 snaps as well, usually as an extra tackle or being used in motion. I wonder how – yeah, interesting to see Dwayne Brown in that particular spot. All right, so the offensive line had to do a little bit of shuffling. We'll see what happens this week. I mean, left tackle, left guard, and center, what that's going to look like. But we'll see what winds up happening as far as if Schweitzer can come back, if Mitchell can come back. Carter Warren right now, since he's not practicing, I don't have a good vibe for that. But, maybe Billy Turner is the best option at right tackle right now. Because, if Dwayne Brown's not comfortable playing right tackle, they're not going to put him there. All right. So a couple of I'm going to take this out for just one moment. I want to talk about the formations that were used a little bit in this game. So the Jets used 11 personnel 41% of the time. I got some of these numbers from Mike Nania. 41% on Sunday, and on those plays when they used 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, they averaged 4 yards per play. Now the league average is 62% that they use the 11 personnel. The Jets have been at 64. So this was a drastic drop in the use of that 11 personnel. Okay, so they did that. Now, what did they replace that with? Well, they used a lot of 12 personnel where they have the second tight end, or I think that includes the fullback as well. It includes Nick Bawden. They used that 23% of the time on Sunday, and on the plays where they used 12 personnel, they averaged 8.2 yards per play. That's over twice what they averaged out of 11 personnel. And then 21 personnel, 2 running backs and 1 tight end, they did that 18% of the time. They averaged 7.1 yards per play. I guess the 21 would be with Bawden, actually. But yeah, when they have the extra tight end or the extra running back on the field, they are averaging a lot more yards per play. It's taken a long freaking time to figure that out, but it looks like they finally are starting to figure it out. We got the great Wild Wave. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Billy SBC, it serves no good purpose for us to win any more games. I don't know about you, but Billy, I don't know about you. And chat, feel free to let Mr. SBC know if you agree or disagree. I understand the idea of tanking to get the best possible draft pick, but I have confidence in the scouting staff and the general manager to get a very good player. And the Jets lost 1 draft spot this week. They were at 6, they went down to 7. Okay, and the Jets will still be able to get a very good player in the top 10, where most likely they will be picking. I mean, we'll see, but I remember when I was watching the sideline as the time was ticking down, the absolute relief that washed over these players' faces. I don't believe momentum carries over from one year to the next. But could you really have an optimistic feeling if you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're a scout, if you're a trainer, if you're the freaking water boy, you wouldn't be able to get 10 straight losses out of your head going into next season? Yeah. So, yeah, Billy wants Joe Walton. Hey, me too, man. Me too. I would I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that. Here's my thing. If you're tanking and you're trying to get a specific quarterback, if you're the New England Patriots right now and you're trying to get Caleb Williams or Drake May, I understand wanting to lose. I would understand that. But in this case, when you're going for an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, most likely, I don't want to think about tanking. I have rooted. I don't know about you all, but I was rooting for tanks in previous years at different points, trying to get Trevor Lawrence, different situations like that. Okay, I'm done with doing that. I just can't do that. It's a situation where the Jets are still going to be trying to get some good players in here in free agency. And could you imagine if they had been finishing the season with a 10-game losing streak? How do you sell that? I mean, you have a talented defense, and you think you have Aaron Rodgers for another year or two. So we'll see. If the Jets finish 4-0 and finish 9-8, I'll so be it. No, of course they wouldn't get a top 10 pick. I agree with you. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, but you know what? If they keep winning out, there still could be a little bit of excitement for the rest of the season. And considering how far down the Jets have been this season, a crazy finish like that, it's been a long time since we've even been in a legitimate playoff mix going into the last week or two of the season. And I love it. Even if they miss out on it, the players get that experience of playing those types of big games at the end of the season. Those coaches get the experience of coaching important games late in the season. I do think that means something. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. We've got, let's see who's dropping by. We got Carney X Jedi. I hope we could trade our first multiple times, maybe even out of the first. I think of it as if Rodgers played and we did at the first, we need more draft picks and it's loaded for us at key positions. Here's what I'm going to say. All right, now this is just my opinion. We have had a lot of drafts as Jets fans, I think, up until maybe last year, where it was absolutely best player available. It really, really was. It is not like that. It's not like that this year. What do we really need on defense? Let's think about it. Maybe you could upgrade the safety position a little bit. You could get a nice run stuffer, defensive tackle. You could get those things late in the draft. Okay? You don't have to use a day one or a day two pick on those things. Now, does the offense need help? Absolutely. There is no denying that. But I do think they're going to go after one of each of those in free agency. I think if you have a chance to pick a very good player and he's the guy you want, this is a situation where you just get them. Because I want a draft pick for next year. And this past year, the Jets drafted a lot of players who were designed for the pipeline. Will McDonald was not intended to be a starter this year. I don't even know if Joe Tippmann was intended to be a starter this year, especially when they had Connor McGovern healthy. But then other guys like Zaire Barnes, Jarek Bernard Converse, Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion University, these guys were for down the road. I want to get a player. If we're not going to have a second round pick, I want that first round pick. He better be able to help that offense day one. Day one. And Joe Douglas doesn't really show an indication of trading down, especially in the first round. He's never done that before. So I'm not saying he wouldn't do it, but that's not really his history. You got to make sure if you've only got one crack in the first two rounds, you got to make that one shot count. Yeah, Wild Wave, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, I mean they were loving it. They were loving it. Let's keep building it, and let's go serve a nice bowl of revenge soup to the Miami Dolphins for what they did to us on Black Friday. I want to give some love to Thomas Fitzpatrick. Very, very good. Does a lot of live streaming. He is a bit of a New England fan, so yeah. But he is a good guy, so go check him out. Subscribe to him if you haven't already. Good dude. Billy SBC bringing the negativity tonight. Billy, are you really Mo Dean? Did Mo Dean take over your account? What the hell happened to you, man? Becton is gone. He very well may be gone. We don't know that for sure. Dwayne Brown is gone. He was not even here this year. AVT is injury prone. He's great. Max is questionable at right tackle. Agreed. There's Carter Warren. You left that out. There's Laken Tomlinson. You left that out. You left Joe Tippmann. You left him out as well. Okay. So they have three pieces at least in the offensive line that personally I would trust. I don't trust Max Mitchell. Okay, I don't. Carter Warren has shown some signs that he can be a good player. But again, this was supposed to be a red shirt year for him too. Okay, Carter Warren was not supposed to be stepping in. Carter Warren is now what Max Mitchell was last season. So if Warren is your swing tackle, great. You know, Becton has not played great this season. I don't know if he's ever really been healthy this year. It's going to be fascinating to see what kind of looks Becton gets from other teams around the league. It's really going to be fascinating, but I would expect him to sign a prove-it deal, a one-year prove-it deal for $8-9 million with somebody. It may be the Jets. It may not be the Jets, but I think that's what we're going to want. I think that's what we're going to wind up seeing. But I don't think Becton's gone. I would lean towards gone, but I don't think it's a guarantee. The great Yeti Wilson, thanks for the late nighter. Hey, that's when I operate, you know. When the full moon rises, I operate. The great Pure Adrenaline Sports, my good friend John. Good to see you here too, my friend. Also does a lot of good live streaming. Check Post Out. Definitely go to his channel. Give him a subscription as well. Definitely going to be worth your time, for sure. And he's a lot more objective of other teams' fans than I usually am, if I'm being honest. Huff might get traded for a pick. Huff's an unrestricted free agent, isn't he? I don't. What? No. I thought the Jets signed him to a tender this past year. So if that was the case, then Bryce Huff would just be unrestricted, I would think. Yeah, so Bryce Huff contract. I'll look this up super quick for y'all. Yeah, possible tag and trade. Well, okay. Yeah, he's just unrestricted free agent after the season. So we'll see what happens. The fact that he is a part-time player, there's a lot. I will say there's a lot of good pass rushers who will be available this offseason. Okay, Bryce Huff is not going to be the top pass rusher on the market. Let me give you four names: Brian Burns, Danielle Hunter, Chase Young, Josh Allen. Now, I'm not saying all four of them are going to hit the market. Can't say that. But some of them will. Bryce Huff is going to be in that next tier. And, you know, other teams lock up their players before they hit the market. Maybe Huff decides to do that, you know, in the last day before he hits the open market. You know, the Jets took a chance on him. Does he have that loyalty? Something to think about, because Huff, JJ, Will McDonald as being the cornerstones of your defensive end for a couple years, that I'd sign up for that. Yeah, I know JFM's still there, but the Jets are going to have to make a decision on him. That's so far down the road anyway. I don't even want to think about the offseason just yet. I don't want to do that just yet. All right, let's get back to real quick here. Let's give the Jets receivers some credit. The Jets had no drops and 4 contested catches this past week. That's how you help out a quarterback. All of a sudden, Zach's numbers look a lot better when the receivers are making plays for him and they're getting open and they're making tough catches. Okay, because we know the Jets have dropped far too many passes this year and last year. Man alive. And let's give some love to Ty Conklin. Yeah, I'm glad he's finally getting the respect that I've been giving him, that other people have been giving him. There have been some Jets fans, some people who host podcasts. I don't want to mention anybody in particular, but nobody I've ever been on with. Let's put it that way. But people who have rather larger audiences, who, you know, they do like the national stuff, and they never have been a fan of Ty Conklin or it seems like any Jets tight end. It's like if it's not Travis Kelce, the tight end sucks. Well, Conklin this year has had 9 contested catches. The only tight end with more is Sam Laporta with 11. Plus, he has 18 combined contested catches over the last 2 years. That's second in the NFL only to TJ Hawkinson. And think about it. How many games have I complained Ty Conklin doesn't get targeted enough? 3-4 targets, maybe. I have felt ever since Corey Davis went away that he should be the second receiving option in this offense. Now he's on that level, unless you count Breece Hall as well. And it's making sense. Conklin has 1 drop on 52 targets. That's the second best drop rate among 25 tight ends who have at least 40 targets. Since he's been a Jet, he has over 1,000 yards, 1,058 yards. That is the best 2-year stretch a Jets tight end has had since Dustin Keller 11 years ago. So Ty Conklin, man, people talk about I know that I'm a bit of a Joe Douglas truther, and I raise my hand on that. But one criticism that I've heard about him is the free agent signings never are not working out outside of DJ Reed. I point them straight to Ty Conklin. Hey, hell, this year I point him to Solomon Thomas. He's been good this year. He really has. He kept Quinnen Williams, Quincy Williams, really. But he resigned Quinnen. He kept Quincy to a very, very reasonable contract, around $6 million a year. So had there been, the Rodgers guys are the ones who have been the disasters. But these other guys, a lot of them have actually worked out quite well. So, and since we've mentioned Mekhi Becton, since Becton was mentioned, I'm curious about your thoughts on Becton. To you all in the chat, man, we got a nice little turnout in the chat right now. This is great. This is really cool. And hey, reminder again, super chat, super thanks are open. We'll do trivia a little bit later on tonight, and if we get at least 15 likes, hit that thumbs up button. We'll do a little spin the wheel game a little bit later on tonight. It'll be the third week that we'll do it, third week in a row. All right, but that's all up to you. I think right now we're at 11 likes from what I'm seeing here. Okay, so as far as Becton goes, I am leaning that he's going to be gone, as I just said, but I just wonder what the demand is going to be for him. I think Becton playing time is going to be incredibly important to him. I wonder how many NFL teams would bring him in to be a starter. I think it's going to be a fascinating decision. Maybe it may be indeed the toughest decision the Jets have to make this offseason, along with Bryce Huff. And, because at least you know what Huff is, you know what his talent is. Becton, you're really taking a gamble. But if he is willing to come back for, I don't know, under $10 million a year for a year, I would bring him back. That's how I'm feeling right now. And if I had more confidence in Carter Warren, I would feel a little bit better about it. Here's what I would say. Alijah Vera-Tucker will be your right tackle. Joe Tippmann will be your center. Laken Tomlinson will be your left guard. Who is going to be your left tackle? Who's going to be your right guard? Now, I think you can pretty much get a right guard later on in the draft. You can get one in free agency for a reasonable contract. You can throw enough stuff at the wall, you can figure right guard out. But you have to make this left tackle count. I would love for it to be Joe Alt or one of these other rookies. There's a couple guys like that. I'm not going to call Becton a must sign, but I hope he would be willing to take a reasonable contract because, much as I love AVT, I wanted AVT even before he was drafted. You have to have a backup plan in place for him now. A triceps injury, I could get over that. An Achilles injury, now I'm a little bit worried. But then again, I guess as the Jets don't have to go to frickin' Denver again, maybe we don't have anything to worry about. What MetLife Stadium is for most of the NFL, Mile High Stadium is for Alijah Vera-Tucker. But I am very confident saying AVT will be your starting right tackle next season. So let's see what happens with Becton. All right, on to the defense. Let's go to their snap counts. 56 snaps, down 12 from last week. Jermaine Johnson with the most snaps among any defensive lineman with 40, down just 1. So when the defense was down 12 snaps as a whole, but you only lost 1 snap, that's pretty good. Quentin Jefferson, another really good free agent signing, 39 snaps, up 4 from last week. Quinnen Williams played 38, down 6. Bryce Huff played 30 snaps, -3. Solomon Thomas played only 22, but he had a very, very big sack in that game on C.J. Stroud. Michael Clemens didn't play as much, 16 snaps. Made sense. This is more of a passing attack anyway, so you want your pass rushers. John Franklin Myers, he fought his way through the ankle injury, played only 15 snaps, so a lot of his time was reduced. And you had Will McDonald playing 13 snaps, and Jalen Holmes got the bulk of the time. 13 snaps for Jalen Holmes. I didn't see that one coming. That was one of those names I saw Holmes. I had to Google his first name. I'm like, who's that? Kenny Holmes, the old Giant and Titan? So Jalen Holmes, 13 snaps. Linebacker C.J. Mosley played 54 snaps, missed only 2. Quincy Williams, the exact same thing. Jamian Sherwood got a good amount of playing time again, 15 snaps. Not that different from Nick Barden. He hadn't had a lot of playing time this year either, guys. He's had a lot of games where he's played 3 snaps, 5 snaps. There was even one game earlier this year where he was active and never saw a snap on defense. Then you had Sam Eguavoen, 3 snaps. Chaz Surratt had 2 snaps. Good to see him back on the field as well. All right, Carney with a little bit of a different perspective on than what I have. We must keep Becton on left tackle, move AVT to left guard, draft a right tackle, move Tippmann to right guard, draft Cedric Van Pran at center, or switch him with some. Oh yeah, Van Pran. I remember his name from last season. They drafted Joe Tippmann to be a center. I don't think they're going to move him over to right guard. Not unless you're getting the next Nick Mangold or Dermontti Dawson coming in. But to me, I don't know. They really have it in their minds that they want AVT at right tackle. They really, really like him there. And again, it's easier to find a guard than it is a tackle. We already know we got to look for. I just don't think they're going to keep Becton at left tackle. I don't think if Becton's going to come back here, he's going to want multiple years. But do the Jets trust him as their left tackle? They need a contingency plan. Maybe it's Carter Warren. I don't know. As good as AVT is at left guard, right tackle is a more valuable position. So, yeah, they got some fascinating decisions to make with that offensive line. They really, really do. But they better get a legit tackle somewhere in there. But yeah, Carney, I definitely appreciate your perspective. It's a little bit different one, but I see your point, man. I do. All right, cornerback Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed played 54 snaps each. Michael Carter, 39 snaps. It was so good to see him back on the field. I actually saw a question somebody posed on Twitter, X, who, if you could only resign one of these players, and this is not a dilemma the Jets are in right now, but if you could only keep one of these 2 players, who would it be? Bryce Huff or Michael Carter II? And I got to tell you, I think I go Carter because I think he's the best slot corner in football. A lot of the graphics prove it. You've got Will McDonald, who could step into that Bryce Huff role, and I love Bryce, but I don't know if Michael Carter is really that replaceable. He was a 5th or a 6th round pick, and he has been an absolute home run of a pick. I don't think you could. I don't think there's any way they can let Carter go. But thankfully, he's got a few more years under contract. But Brandon Echols saw a lot less time in this game, only 2 snaps on defense. Jarek Bernard-Converse saw a little bit of time, 2 snaps. Bryce Hall did not play in this game. He was inactive. And then at safety, they only played 3 safeties in this game. Tony Adams, 53 snaps. Jordan Whitehead, 51. And Ashton Davis played just 7. So the Jets went pretty heavy with 2 safeties rotating. Don't count on a lot of 3 safety looks from them in the near future. Hey, maybe Trey Dean gets activated in the near future. Who knows? So it'll be fascinating, but it's amazing how many guys we think about sometimes who are the darlings of training camp. Of course, Zach Kuntz, since he played not far from where I live right now. Of course, I'm a big Kuntz guy. The great Johnny Jimenez, who I'm sure will be by later. We all know he is as well. But Trey Dean was definitely the guy, and isn't here just yet. Hasn't happened for him just yet. But hopefully that will happen for him in the near future. And who knows how different this would be if Chuck Clark hadn't gotten hurt. Who knows if Ashton Davis would still be on the team. Davis would probably still be on the team, but I don't think they ever would have signed Amos. That's probably what would have happened. All right. So let's get rid of the defense side. Couple stats on the defense. Last week, okay, we talked about the earlier that the Jets did not have a drop pass in the rain against Houston. I'll give you something just as impressive, if not more. The Jets were charged with 1 missed tackle against Houston. And we know this defense has had some issues with tackling. I'm not going to name the names. You all know the guys I'm talking about. But I think 1 missed tackle in that game against that offense, which has a lot of speed on it, is super freaking impressive. Okay? 10 passes defensed on Sunday. They have the 4th most passes defended in the league with 65. Very, very good job by the back 7. They have gone 31 straight games, the defense has, without allowing a 300-yard passer. That is the longest streak any team has had since the Indianapolis Colts had a 52-game streak from 2005 to 2008 of not allowing a 300-yard passer. So this is the best any defense has done in that department in 15 years. And unlike last year, you can't talk to us about the backup quarterbacks, haters. You can't do that now. No. Hurts, Mahomes, Herbert, Allen twice, Tua. Aiden O'Connell. Kidding. But you get my point. Yeah, the Jets defense has done an amazing job against the pass. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of the main event here. Now, I'm sure there's a few of y'all that when you saw the title of the show, you might have thought I was a little bit crazy, that the Jets actually have a chance to get the 6th seed in the AFC. Well, I'm here to tell you they do. And I'm going to outline a 6-step path. So take your notes, get out your pen and paper, do what you have to do, because, hey, I may be a crazy dreamer, but this may be the last freaking chance I have to dream this year, and I'm going to milk it for all it's worth, okay? So I'm going to break down this, but after that, I'm also going to break down the most simple, direct path the Jets have to getting a wild card spot. Okay, so let's do that right now. Now, the first thing, you all know this one's pretty obvious. The Jets have to win out. Okay, at Miami, Washington, at Cleveland, at New England, 3 games on the road. And to me, Miami is probably maybe the most challenging game, but you can make an argument for Cleveland, but they are starting to lose some players. Imagine the Jets defense rushing Joe Flacco. Jedrick Wills, Cleveland offensive lineman, on IR. Grant Delpit, their safety, he's on IR. So Cleveland is losing some very important players right now. They're getting pretty beat up. And remember, that game's going to be on a short week. So let's see what winds up happening there. We'll see how meaningful it winds up being. And I just got to say something here. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back up, but I just got to say one thing, and I'm going to take the graphic away because I want to talk to you all, just you and me, about Week 18, New England. The reports are getting stronger and stronger that Belichick is going to be gone after the season, whether he is traded somewhere. He won't be fired. They're not going to do that to him. But he might go to Washington or San Diego or the Bears, somewhere like that. After all the crap we've gone through together that he has put us through, how sweet would it be to send him out with a loss? Screw the draft pick. I want his last game. Just like the Tom Brady, the great Tom Brady, his last pass as a Patriot, I just want to remind everybody, was a pick 6 in the playoffs as Tennessee beat him. How sweet would it be to knock Bill out of New England with a loss? Just like the Jets knocked Peyton Manning out of Indianapolis with a loss. That would be rather beautiful. Carney, you're exactly right. We're going to talk about, Connor Williams, out for the season, torn ACL. Liam Eichenberg will be the center for this game. Big, lumbering guy. All right, so Quinnen Williams will be right over him. Okay, step 2, and this may be the toughest one of all. This is probably the toughest one of all. Buffalo's got to lose 3 games. I'm going to make this very simple, guys. No matter what, barring about 20 games going a certain way, Buffalo's got to lose 3 games. Now, what I'm really doing here, what I did, I'm just going to be honest with you, I grouped the games all by winning percentage. So the better teams were winning, and then I adjusted a little bit for injuries. But what I'm really going to show you is the upsets. But the hardest part of this is Buffalo losing 3 games. Now, home against Dallas, at Miami, you can make very good points that they could lose both of those games. But they've also got to lose either against the Chargers on the road, or they got to lose to New England at home. And I got to be honest with you, crazy as this is, with Justin Herbert out, unless Easton Stick comes in and becomes like Dan Fouts, Keenan Allen's out right now, they may have a tougher time winning at home against New England, against that very, very good defense. The New England defense has been great the last month. Okay, they may have a tougher time at home against New England than they do in San Diego, in Los Angeles, in a controlled environment in a dome where Easton Stick is playing quarterback for the Bolts. All right, so Buffalo's got to lose any 3 of those games. All right, that's step 2. Step 3, week 15. Now I'm going to go week by week here with you. Only really need 2 things here. Tennessee beats Houston. Tennessee is at home. And to me, that is completely conceivable. C.J. Stroud, not practicing yet. He's in concussion protocol. And Tennessee has not lost a game at home yet this year. All right, I think you can make a very good argument Tennessee's going to win. And then you've got Indianapolis beating Pittsburgh at home. Also, I think very conceivable. You got Mitchell Trubisky playing quarterback for Pittsburgh. He stinks under pressure, and Indianapolis has the third most sacks in the NFL. All right. I expect it to be a close game, but I think those two outcomes, I think they're very, very possible. I do. Then on to week 16, we need one loss from Denver. Now, I think the most realistic one is New England beating Denver, but you could also take Denver losing to the Chargers in week 17 in Denver, or them going to Vegas and losing to the Raiders. So yeah, either New England or the Raiders. I mean, I don't expect, put it this way, Denver, we want them to lose 2 games also. They got Detroit this week in Detroit. I think Detroit should win that game. I don't think it's going to be easy. Detroit has not played well, but I think some home cooking is going to serve the Lions well. Then you just need Denver to lose one other game, whether it's New England at home, whether it's home against San Diego, or whether it's at the Raiders. So really 2 losses by Denver. Okay. Then in week 17, we need the Raiders to beat the Colts. That's simple. The Raiders to go to Indianapolis and beat the Colts. That's it for week 17. Week 18, only one more thing. Houston beats Indianapolis. That game's going to be in Indy, but maybe CJ Stroud is back from concussion protocol in that game. Maybe they still have something to play for. Maybe they're playing spoiler, trying to hurt Indianapolis, maybe trying to knock them down a seed or knock them out of the playoffs. So really, that's it. Jets went out. Buffalo loses 3 games. Okay, then I'm going to quickly rewind here. Tennessee over Houston, Indy over Pittsburgh. Then Denver loses 2 games, and I expect them to lose to Detroit, but lose 2 games there. Vegas over Indy, and Houston over Indy. So we're talking about Indy losing twice. Now here's what would happen. Cleveland would be 11-6. They'd have the 5 seed. Okay, so I'm counting on Cleveland basically doing really well, winning 3 of their last 4 games, their only loss being to the Jets. So if this happens, okay, with expected teams winning, barring we'll call them upsets that I mentioned, the Jets, Broncos, Colts, Texans, and Steelers all finished 9-8. A 5-way tie for 9-8. And the Jets would win the tiebreaker and get the 6th seed. Pittsburgh would get the 7. And the New York Football Jets would have the 6th seed in the American Football Conference. Guys, it could happen. The craziest part of this is either the Jets winning out or Buffalo losing 3 games. Okay? So if the Jets, this week, let's be honest, we need the Jets to win and we need Dallas to beat Buffalo. If those 2 things don't happen, it's out the window. I get that. But if you get those 2 things, it is a big, big step forward. And again, this is just to get the 6th seed. Now let's talk about the 7th seed. Just the most these would be the standings. So with what I had, Baltimore would be the 1. They get the bye. It would be Kansas City hosting Denver, Jacksonville hosting the Jets, and Miami hosting Cleveland. Where do I sign up for that? Wild Wave, I know I'm asking for a lot, but I'm just here to show you it is possible. It is possible. And again, the craziest part about this, what if Josh Allen does get hurt? Hey, who thought Pittsburgh could lose to Arizona and New England back-to-back? Who thought Tennessee could beat Miami in Miami last week? Why shouldn't we have a little bit of belief left? A little bit of belief, just a little smidgen of it. It is possible. With some of what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I didn't used to say this about the NFL, but just about anything can happen. So can you imagine a 1st-round game going to Jacksonville? Think the Jets can win that game? I do. But let's talk about what I would think is the Jets' simplest way to the playoffs. And again, I didn't say easy. I'm just saying the most straightforward and the most direct. All right, so just like before, Jets went out. We've already been through that. No need to rehash. And again, Buffalo's got to lose 3 games. Okay, so that Kansas City so first of all, I would like to thank Kadarius Toney for screwing the Jets' chances up a little bit, because if Kansas City had won, the Jets' odds would be even better right now. Okay? So Buffalo still got to lose 3 games, so we got to be as anti-Buffalo as possible. Now, week 3, I kind of alluded to step 3, I alluded to this. Denver loses 2 games. Now, at Detroit, like I said, I think they should lose that. New England, home against the Chargers, at the Raiders. I find it a little hard to believe that Denver's going to end their season on a 3-game win streak. I just don't think it's happening. Step 4, Cincinnati loses 2 games. They don't have a very easy schedule. Home against Minnesota. I mean, I think Cincy will win that game going against Nick Mullins. But then you're at Pittsburgh, never easy, at Kansas City, and home against Cleveland. Pretty challenging. Pretty challenging. I mean, how good is Jake Browning? We're going to find out. Week 15, this is step 5, and this is a 6-step thing. Pretty much what we said before. Tennessee over Houston, Indianapolis over Pittsburgh. I already gave you my reasons why I think those 2 games are going to go that way. Again, we're rooting for 2 home underdogs. I like rooting for home underdogs. All right? So that's that. And that is actually, that's all. That's the whole 5-step process. That's it. So if those things happen, Jets win out, Buffalo loses 3 games, Denver loses 2, Cincinnati loses 2, and we get those 2 results on Sunday. Saturday, Sunday? Yeah, this weekend. This weekend. We get Cleveland at 11-6, Indy at 10-7, and you've got a 4-way tie at 9-8 with the Jets, Broncos, Bengals, and Texans. Thankfully, the Jets have beaten the Broncos and Texans already. They would beat out the Bengals as well. I believe it would be the common games tiebreaker, but the Jets would get the 7th seed. So that is the most direct route I could possibly find to get the Jets in. So really, we get those 3 or 4 games to go our way. Indy wins, Tennessee wins, Dallas wins, and the Jets win. You can legitimately start to hope. You can legitimately start to dream and think it's a possibility. Because, I mean, I feel pretty confident about the Jets playing Washington. I personally do. So I really hope that game means something. It'll be the Jets' last home game of the season. Man, I really hope that it matters. You know, especially for the people who go to these games in the rain that have gone getting soaked all game long, you know, that are tailgating, that are driving hours, that are tailgating, parking, paying the season tickets to sit in a horrible stadium to watch what has been, for the most part, a lackluster product on the field. God bless them. They deserve one crazy fun day to end the season, or at least the home season. So, hey, I know what I said was a little bit crazy right there, the outline that I went through, but I am letting you know it is possible. It can still happen. Okay, now let's go to the opposite end of it. Let's go to the opposite end of this. So, if we were to talk about Tankathon, so that's becoming kind of a weekly thing for us as well. Doing a quick check on the likes. Yep, looks like we hit the 15 likes. So, yeah, thanks so much, everybody, for doing that. All right, so we will spin the wheel a little bit later on. Let's see. Oh, it's almost 11 o'clock. All right, fantastic. All right, well, we'll go through Tankathon, and then I'll give you the 5 key stats on the Dolphins that I'm looking at. Then we'll get into the trivia. All right, so we look at Tankathon, and my alignment got a little bit messed up, but hey, what are you going to do? All right, so Carolina, I think we can pretty much forget it. The Jets are not picking number 1 this year. New England and Arizona, for me, it's kind of hard to imagine they both win 2 games, 2 more games this season. They both have pretty hard strengths of schedule. If we look at the remaining strength of schedule, Arizona has the 4th hardest, New England the 12th hardest. And then, and considering they have the Jets on their schedule, what does that say about their other 3 games, which we'll get into? All right, so then Washington 4-9. We know that the Jets are coming up, the 5th hardest strength of schedule. And then you got a bunch of teams at 5-8. You've got Chicago, you've got the Raiders, you've got the Jets. Okay, so that strength of schedule is a big deal. The Raiders and the Bears definitely have the advantage, and they don't. But they do have. Well, the Raiders do have a harder strength of schedule. The Bears are pretty comparable to the Jets. So the only way the Jets can pass them in the draft standings is to have a worse record. So if you're really rooting for the tank, you got to root for the Raiders and you got to root for the Bears to win at least a game or 2. All right, so those 3 teams are 5-8. Also, there are 3 more. So there's 6 teams at 5-8. You got the Giants, the Titans, and the Chargers. The Giants are right behind on strength of schedule, but look at that remaining strength of schedule, the 2nd hardest in the league. As we talked about at the top of the show when we were talking a little Tommy DeVito and the G-Men. Tennessee 520, San Diego 525, all very close with that strength of schedule. So those 3 teams, if they finish tied at the same record, it's going to be very close. Then you've got 4, 6, and 7 teams in Atlanta, New Orleans, Seattle, and the Rams. And also note Atlanta and New Orleans. Okay, 30. Let's see. Actually, New Orleans is 30. Atlanta's actually 29 on strength of schedule. New Orleans is 30, but they have very, very easy strengths of schedule. So if they finish tied with the Jets, they're going to jump the Jets as well. Because after the Jets beat Houston, they were the sixth seed going into that game. Then they became the 9. But thanks to the Giants and the Titans both winning, they went from 9 back up to the 7th spot where they currently are. Okay, so we'll give you the routing guide in a moment, but yeah, so with the key team schedules that are left, so I'm really including the Washington and the other 5 and 8 teams. So Washington's got the Rams, at the Jets, San Francisco, and Dallas. Very, very, very difficult schedule. I mean, I could definitely see Washington going winless the rest of the way. Chicago, interesting. They got at Cleveland, and as good as Cleveland's been on, Cleveland's been very good on defense, but they are beat up. Arizona at home, Atlanta at home, and at Green Bay. The Raiders, interesting one. Chargers at Kansas City, at Indy, and Denver. So they're playing a bunch of teams that will have something to play for. Something to point out. The Giants, just about as hard as it gets. At New Orleans, at Philly, the Rams, and Philly. So, yeah, their schedule is nothing short of brutal. Then Tennessee's got Houston at home, Seattle at Houston, and Jacksonville. And Seattle is on is on an absolute downslide right now. And who knows? They might play Houston twice without their quarterback. So maybe Tennessee wins another game or 2. Very possible. And as for the Chargers, we'll see what Easton's stick is. But you can't feel too optimistic. At the Raiders, okay, Buffalo, at Denver, and Kansas City. All right. Now, I'm expecting the Raiders to beat the Chargers personally. So personally, I'll be rooting for the Raiders in that game for all things considered. But yeah, I think San Diego's in a heck of a lot of trouble here. A lot of trouble with that. Even if they had Justin Herbert, I would think they're in a lot of trouble. So as far as the rooting guide, if you're rooting for the tank, if you're rooting for draft position, here's what we're really looking at. Raiders over Chargers on Thursday. And then Sunday, Bears over Browns, Patriots over Chiefs. The Bears over Browns one is enormous. Patriots over Chiefs, Giants over Saints, Titans over Texans, Falcons over the Panthers. If you still think that the Cardinals can win a little bit, Cardinals over the 49ers, good luck with that one. And the Commanders over the Rams. And finally, the Seahawks over the Eagles, who are starting to kind of fall back into that high draft spot, the way that they have been slumping as of late. All right, but I would definitely say Washington and Chicago are the main teams to be watching in that spot. All right, guys, that is it for the tank situation. We gave you the playoff breakdown. It is 11 o'clock at night, and I think what we want to do, let's have a little bit of fun right now. Actually, you know what? Almost forgot. Got to do the 5 key stats. Let's do those really quick. Yeah, let's do the stats. Okay, so a couple things with Miami. Their offense, they are averaging a 0.5 point per play. That's the best in the league. So if you take total plays, divided by points scored, Miami is the best in the league. Miami averages 5.3 yards per rushing attempt, which is the best in the league. But over the last 3 games, they're averaging only 4.4 yards per attempt, which is 14. And this comes back to what we were alluding to earlier with their offensive line being so beat up. The only starter who is still playing for them is Austin Jackson, the right tackle. Everybody else is hurt. Isaiah Wynn, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, and Robert Hunt. All of them are either out for the season or questionable at best. Armstead, he may play. Hunt, Wynn's on injured reserve. So we'll see what winds up happening as far as that goes. But the Dolphins' run game, which had really helped to set up that offense, the play-action offense, it has not been doing as well the last couple of weeks. So it's important to mention that. And on Monday against Tennessee, a team not exactly known for its pass defense or its pass rushing ability, without 4 starting offensive linemen, Tua faced pressure on over 40% of dropbacks. Big, big deal. All right. A quick hello to the great Grandizer, New York Rangers talk. Hey, we did some New York Rangers at the top of the show as part of 3 and Out. Oh, yeah, you want me to flip the script like I do on the game previews, right? Yeah, there you go. You got your flip the script. All right, but as far as the defense go, Miami is allowing 3.8 yards per rush attempt. That's 5th best in the league. Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle, has a lot to do with that. And the Miami defense has been very, what they say, opportunistic is the word. They have scored touchdowns in 3 straight games. All right. So this is not a situation, not that you could ever really afford to turn the football over. But when Miami turns you over, they take it back to the house. And we as Jets fans know that all too well, don't we now? My gosh. But yeah, I think the reason I actually have hope in this game is that the offensive line is that beat up, throwing a short week, a devastating loss at home to a team they absolutely should have beaten. I mean, blowing a 13-point lead with about 4 minutes to go to Will Levis and Tennessee, absolutely unbelievable that happened. I'm still amazed that happened. Absolutely stunned. Hey, when I made my confidence picks, I gave Miami my top pick, and I was happy to take the loss. I will tell you right now. Okay, guys, it is 11:05, and I think we know what time it is. Let's play some Jets trivia. All right, so you all know how we do this. We do a trivia question every single week. We try to make it, relevant to the topic at hand. And during the regular season, we do it about the Jets' upcoming game and whatever history they may have. We go back into the archives. We might look at common players, might look at Pro Bowlers, coaches, just anything that might seem interesting. So when it comes to Jets versus Dolphins, I've had to do a whole lot of research to come up with a good question, because it seems like I'm asking Jets Dolphins questions quite often. But we've got one for you tonight, and let's put it up. I'm going to put myself right down there in the corner, and now you can see the Jets logo. Okay, the last time the Jets won in Miami, if you can believe this, was December 28th, 2014. That's crazy. Name the four, and the question tonight, name the 4 Jets who scored touchdowns. All right, and your time starts now. All right, so I'm gonna get into I'm gonna pull up the comments over here on the side. Is the answer Scotty McKnight? Of course, it's always Scotty McKnight. If it's not Lee Cravat, it is definitely Scotty McKnight. And we've got to pull one thing up here. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see what we've got. I see, pardon me. Okay. So David D, good to see him. David D says Dustin Keller. Is it Dustin Keller? Is that a correct answer? I'm afraid not. Dustin Keller did not have a touchdown that day. I don't think he was playing that day. Wild Wave says Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall was not with the Jets that year. Brandon Marshall came the next year in 2015. Vervain says Geno Smith. Oh, did Geno Smith run in a touchdown? Hate to tell you, but not quite. No, he did not. David D says Eric Decker. Okay, is Eric Decker a correct answer? It sure is. Eric Decker had a 74-yard touchdown catch from Geno Smith, which brought the Jets within 3 points in that game. We got the great Johnny Jimenez. I mentioned you earlier, even earlier on when I made a Zach Kuntz reference, bro. I'm sure you'd appreciate that. He goes with number 29, Bilal Powell. Bilal Powell is not quite correct. Not quite. No, not correct. Grandizer, how do you think I feel? If I were still a kid, I would have broke a window. Hey, what's stopping you now? Hank G says Darrelle Revis. No, one Darrelle Revis. Hank G says Chris Ivory. Is Chris Ivory correct? It sure is. You've got Chris Ivory and you've got Eric Decker. You've got 2 correct answers out of 4. And you've got about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Yep, Johnny Jimenez coming in the back with Ivory as well. Yep, so you all got that right as well. So there are 2 more answers. Sally Modine is not here to look everything up for you all. And no Nick Shine yet tonight. Wonder where he is. He usually manages to come through, but we haven't seen him yet tonight. Hope he's doing good. Hope the Wednesday show went well also. Okay, so Johnny says Thomas, which I think he means Demarius Thomas. No, it is not Demarius Thomas. Nope. Wild Wave, was it on special teams? No, it was not on special teams, as a matter of fact. No tricks here. Hank G says Jay Samaro, just for that. I had to. All right. Yeah, these were not, they were offensive touchdowns. They were offensive touchdowns. I will tell you that. One was a run and one was a pass. Joe McKnight, no, sir. Rest his soul. Nope. Yeah, there was a run. The first one, it was the first touchdown of the game, which was a run, and the last touchdown of the game was a pass. And of course, don't look it up. All right, how are we doing on time here? We've got 1 minute and 10 seconds left, guys. And then after that, we'll do a little spin the wheel. Yeah, that's become like a new. I think that's gonna be like a fun thing that we're gonna do. So, yeah, nice little gimmick. All right, guys, they were offensive touchdowns 2014. So it's the year before the Cagnon Bulls came along. So it's right at the end of the Rex era. Johnny Jimenez is Jeff Cumber. Jeff Cumber. I assume you mean Jeff Cumberland. And man, I got to tell you, you got it. Jeff Cumberland, one of my least favorite tight ends of all time, a 23-yard touchdown. The last one of the game that gave the Jets a 34-24 lead. Yeah. Yep. David D. Oh, CJ2K, Chris Johnson. No, wasn't Chris Johnson. Hank G says Plexico Burris. No, it was a running play. And I admit this is definitely the hardest one. All right, how are we doing on time? Ooh, we got 15 seconds left, guys. Last guesses. Come on. Johnny, narrow it down a little bit. Johnny, I think I know who you mean. I think I know who you mean. I think you're in the neighborhood. I think you're in the neighborhood. All right, I think that's how you spell it. Johnny, what's his first name? And she says Tebow, he was history. Wild Wave says, bro just made up a name, or did he? Karnick says Santonio Holmes. No, Holmes was long gone. Chris Owusu. Was it Chris Owusu? A bunch of Johnny, come on. You got a bunch of Jets fans scratching their heads, right? Who? Chris is, oh yeah, I barely remember that name. What the heck? Is it Chris Owusu? You bet it is! It's Chris Owusu! Johnny, I'm playing this one for you today. The first Jets touchdown of the game was a 23-yard run from Chris Owusu. Yep, that actually happened. Chris Owusu had the first touchdown of the game. So Johnny, I don't know where you pulled that out from, but well done. Yeah, Chris Owusu, another one of those spring training darlings that we had. Training camp darlings. So, but yeah, good job, man. Good job getting that one. All right, let's get. Yep. Oh yeah, just let's show you the slide. Owusu, Ivory, Decker, and Cumberland. 2014. And can you believe that it's actually true? The last time the Jets won a game in Miami, we talk about the whole Patriot thing. We haven't won a game there in 9 years in Miami. Now, we did beat Miami in England when Miami was considered the home team when McCown was quarterback, but we have not won a game in Miami in 9 years. So how about we break that streak? That's a streak nobody talks about. Let's break that streak on Sunday, and let's keep our hopes alive. Let's do that. All right. Okay, so now let's do what's becoming a brand new tradition. We're going to do a little spin the wheel. So for those of you who haven't been here for this before, I've created a couple of different wheels. I've got, 100 random Jets players, quarterbacks, Jets seasons, Jets draft classes, and Jets coaches. 5 different wheels. So what we do, we're just going to spin it randomly. I'm going to show you the wheel on the screen, and then we're going to create a top 10 list as we go. So if we do the quarterbacks, like last week, we land on Joe Namath, he would be in your 1. He would be in your 1 spot. If you get on pretty much every other quarterback who we landed on, we put them really, really low. And at the end, we're going to look at our list 1 through 10 and see how good of a job we did. All right, so last week we did quarterbacks. Now I think I need to create a wheel to decide what wheel we're going to do. But I'm thinking tonight I'm going to make the. I think I'm going to make the. I let you all decide last week. I think this time. Let's see. Let's do. I think we're going to do draft. I don't want to do drafts just yet. Let's do. Let's go back to the OG. Let's go back to the. Let's see. I think it's here someplace. Let's see. Where is it? Actually, let's do Jets coaches tonight. Yeah, we'll do the 100 player. We'll do 100 players next week. Okay. So I'm going to show you all the wheel. I'm going to present. Johnny wants to do special teams. Yeah, I can make up random special teams players, but I mean, we could do something. All right. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all right now. All right. So entire screen. We'll hit allow. All right, so now you should be able to see everything that I see. And now we're going to max out the wheel. Okay, so I'm going to look at the comments, and we're going to spin the wheel 10 times. Again, there can be no repeats. Okay, so that if we land on the same coach a second time, then we're going to respin. So I'm going to spin the wheel. It'll land on a random Jets head coach, and you in the chat are going to tell me where you want me to rank that coach. And then I'll put it in. I'll keep track of it as we go along. And let's see what kind of head coach list we have. Damn right, we got Lou Holtz on this list. Absolutely. I didn't put like Bulldog Turner in from 1961. I felt that, or Sammy Ball. I thought that would be a little bit unfair. So there are no Titans coaches. I know if Frankie from Flatbush was here right now, I know he'd be heartbroken. I hope he's good. All right, guys, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Round one. Here we go. And it stops on the Emperor, Bill Parcells. All right, well, that's a pretty good way to start it off tonight. So ranking it 1 to 10. So my fellow Jet fans, my fellow football fans, my wacky Watsu K99 watchers, I don't know, whatever y'all are, where would you rank Bill Parcells on the list? So Johnny Jimenez would put him number 1. Vervain would be 3. Wild Wave says 1. Pure Adrenaline Sports says 2. Remember, if you're casting on Parcells, you're counting on another coach to be better. If you put him at 3, you're counting on that we're going to land on 2 coaches who are better. Okay? So I think maybe I should put like resumes, like a record, so we know just how bad these guys were. All right, so we've got 2 1s, we've got 3 2s, we've got 1 3. I think 2 is kind of winning out right now. We got a good number of people in the chat, so yeah, feel free to throw a number down there if you want. All right, I think 2 is kind of winning out here. All right. Yeah, Week better be one. I think he meant Wade. Harlan Abraham, he says Bill Parcells 2. Yep, I think we got enough votes for number 2. Okay, I'm going to make Bill Parcells the number 2 Jets head coach on our list. All right, let's spin the wheel again. This is spin number 2. And we are landing on, well, we're going to respin it because it's Parcells again. Yep, that's the risk of this. I thought about doing a top 5 list, but okay. Oh, this one's going to be interesting. Bruce Coslett was with the Jets, I believe, for about 4 years or so. Did coach them to 1 playoff berth. Never did win a playoff game. Had them big glasses that covered like half his face. All right, Bruce Coslett. Yeah, he came over to really be the head coach since Boomer was the quarterback, since he was the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati. Guys, where are we putting Bruce Coslett among on our top 10 list here? I know this is one that isn't like too obvious, like being great or being necessarily terrible. So got to think about that. All right, let's see what we have to say. I see a 6. Okay. Vervain. All right, so Carney and Vervain, they're on the same page with a 6. All right. Hank G 6, Jets Mess says 5. All right. Wild Wave going a little bit lower. He says 7. All right. We'll give you all a few more seconds here. Yeah, right now we're definitely leaning towards a 6. I think that's about where I would have him too, 5 or 6. All right. Okay, I think we're pretty good there. Harlan Abraham goes with a 5. All right, so we're kind of it's right in that 5 to 6 range. Yeah. Proud New York Jets fans is here. Is it too late for trivia? Yeah, we did the trivia already, Nick. I'm glad you're here though. But you're here in time to rank some coaches. So far, we've ranked Bill Parcells number 2, and our second spin landed on Bruce Coslet. So we got to rank. We got to rank Coslet. But yeah, Nick, definitely you can go back, watch the trivia. Or I'll let you know what it was a little bit later. Johnny Jimenez basically took your job of pulling it out. Okay, guys, I think we've got a good number of votes. I'm going to make Bruce Coslet our number 6. That's the number that seems to be winning out. All right, so we got Parcells at 2. We've got Coslet at 6. Let's spin the wheel. Here's spin number 3. And it is going to land on, oh my God, Charlie Winter, the son-in-law of Weeb Eubank, who I don't even think made it past a year. I think Charlie Winter was gone after what, 1 season? Yeah, he wasn't around. Actually, I should put the Jets head coach's Wikipedia page real quick. Yeah, Charlie Winter. Just to give you guys, let's put this in. All right, Charlie Winter went 9-14, coached 23 games in a year and a half with the Jets. So 9-14, a 391 winning percentage. Not so good. All right, so where are we putting Charlie Winter? Okay, Vervain says we got a couple of 9s here. Yeah, Proud New York Jets fan says clearly, of course. Yeah, I don't think I will put him at number 1 just to make everybody else annoyed at you. I will. All right. So we got a couple of 9s, 1 7, 1 8. Okay. I think right now we're leaning towards a 9 on this one. Yeah, when you're out after a year and a half and you get replaced by Ken Shipp, who I did not put on the wheel. Yeah, I think that's about it. Or I'm going to put Charlie Winter as the number 9 on our list. And I think we're pretty sure that we've got worse ones than this coming up. So all right, let's spin again. Spin number 4, and we are landing on we keep landing on frickin' Parcells. Respin again. Third time landing on the Emperor. Oh God. Adam freaking Gase. Oh Lord. All right. Not that you need me to go through the resume, but remember, he is the quarterback whisperer. And if Charlie Winter was what was he? He was 9-14. Gase was 9-23, a 281 winning percentage. That is the not quite the worst, but almost the worst in the history of the franchise. Adam Gase. All right. I can't put him at 9, so I'll ask you, would you like him at 7, 8, or 10? He did win a few games in a row at one point. So Thomas Fitzpatrick, the Patriots fan, chimes in. Number 1 head coach in Jets history. I'm sure you would think so. Hank goes with a 10. Thomas, Thomas's vote is disregarded. Yeah, he's one of those illegal voters. His ballot. Yeah. 10, 10, 8, 7, 10. Yeah, I can't pick a 9, but I'm seeing 3 10s. I'm seeing an 8, and I'm seeing a 7, and I'm seeing an 8 as well. Corey, cancel my 8 and put him at 7. Wow. Okay. So we're seeing a kind of a mix of these. I got to tell you, I think I'm going to put Adam Gase at 8. I'm seeing a couple of 10s, but I'm also seeing some 7s and some 8s. So I'm going to compromise there, and I'm going to put Gase at number 8. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. So far we've got Bill Parcells at 2, Bruce Coslet at 6, Adam Gase at 8, and Charlie Winter at 9. Wow, we need to get some good coaches here. We need some playoff coaches here. And the next one is, that looks like Coslet. We're going to respin. All right, let's do that one again. And it's going to be Joe Walton. Okay, so Joe Walton, not a very beloved coach. Went 53, 57, and 1. Not too bad, but he did win 1 playoff game. Went 1 and 2 in the playoffs. Was with the Jets from 1983 to 1989. Coached 111 games. Only Weeb Eubank ever coached more games as Jets head coach. But a lot of the players didn't like him. I know Joe Klecko was not a fan of his at all. So let's see. Where should we put Joe Walton? So we've got 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 10. So where does Walton go? All right, Nick. I'm sorry that you had a rough day. All right. Hope you feel better, man. All right. Good to see you. Okay. All right. We've got a 5. We've got a 7 here, guys. Where are we putting Joe Walton from the 1980s? Where are we putting him? All right. Okay. All right. So Carney wants 5. Vervain says 7. Harlan Abraham says 7 as well. Yeah, I figured it'd be right around the middle there. Hank G says 5. Well, yeah, Wild Wave says 7. Yeah, yeah. Right now, it's pretty much it's gonna rule out here. I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, keep in mind, guys, if we make him a 7, we still have to fill 4 of the top 5. That might be a little bit challenging. Put it this way, Joe Walton. Would you say he was a better head coach than Bruce Coslett or a worse head coach than Bruce Coslett? Think about that. And whatever you feel is fine. But if you think that he's better than Bruce Coslett, he should be a 5. If you think he's worse, then you should make him a 7. Okay. So yeah, let's give everybody another minute or so. I know we got a few more people in the chat. So yeah, feel free to put your votes down. I got to be honest with you, I'm leaning towards the 5 here because I would rate him a little bit better than Coslett. Better winning percentage, actually won a playoff game. Yeah, I think but then again, Walton did have more to work with than Coslett did. Joe must go. Joe must go. Walton, not Douglas. Just saying. All right, Nick. So there you go. Yeah, your request is granted. All right. So it looks like we're getting a little bit more on the 5. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I think 5 is the way to go with Joe Walton. All right. Yeah, Harlan. Yeah, you said exactly. Better record, but the players did. Yeah, they hated him. They did not like him. Yeah, it's a tough call, but I can live with Walton over Coslett. Okay, so we're 5 spins down, 5 to go. We still got to fill numbers spots 1, 3, 4, 7, and 10. So at least there's some variety there. That's good. And our next coach is going to be Eric Mangini, the man genius, star of The Sopranos. Coached 48 games with the Jets, went 23 and 25, under 500. Got one playoff game in with him where the Jets got blown out by the Patriots. I got to be honest with you guys. I am not as big an Eric Mangini fan as some other people are. I felt the way he coached that team in the Brett Favre year. I thought he made a lot of terrible in-game decisions. I didn't like how he tried to be Belichick light. But yeah, but Mangini, yeah, I definitely don't think he's going to be a 1 or a 10. So I'm pretty sure he's going to wind up at 3, 4, or 7. Wild Wave, I'm sorry, but I got to disagree. I did not. The way that he coached some of those games, I don't care if Favre was hurt. I thought he coached himself right off the team. I really, really did. Poor decision making, poor use of timeouts, not knowing when to go for it, when to be conservative, when to be aggressive. I just did not like Mangini as an in-game coach. And hey, he went to Cleveland, he was even worse. So, all right, well, it looks pretty much unanimous. Eric Mangini will be the 4. All right. Yep. I think I would agree with that. I would. So, all right. So here is where we are. At 2, we have Parcells, 4 Mangini, 5 Walton, 6 Coslett, 8 Gase, and 9 Winner. So we have 1, 3, 7, and 10 left. I got to tell you, I'm feeling pretty good about the list. I think we're doing a really, really good job. And this is a good way to have it, where you've got open spots all throughout the lineup, and you can fill them in. All right. So we have 6 spins down. Let's do number 7, and let's spin that wheel. And we are going to land on, oh boy, this is a good one. Al Groh. Oh, this one's gonna rankle a few feathers. This is a tricky one. One of the only, I think there's only been one. I think there's only 1, 2. He's the only Jets. All right. Before anybody gets too upset about Al Groh, remember, he is one of only 2 Jets head coaches with a career winning record with the team. He went 9-7 in his 1 year. He was the coach during the Monday Night Miracle. But as we know, that team did collapse late and miss the playoffs. Carney, what spots are left? 1, 3, 7, and 10. Okay, so Al Groh, only one season, and he had his foot out the door. And I don't care what anybody tells me before the season was over. Couldn't wait to go coach Virginia and play and coach in the Peach Bowl every year. So where would you rank Groh? Would you rank him between Parcells and Mangini? Would you rank him below Mangini, Walton, and Kozlik, but above Adam Gase? Yeah, I gotta say, if I gotta pick one of the spots myself, I think I know where I'm going. Ravane and Hank G are both thinking 3. Yeah, it's a tough call. I wonder sometimes though if the Monday Night Miracle just completely drained everything left that team had to give. I really do. Yeah, right now it seems like we're leaning toward Carney's going 7. Hank G says 3. Vervain says 3. Well, wait, what did he do again? All right, so he coached one season with the Jets, 9-7, and so it's a winning record. They didn't get to the playoffs, but they kind of blew it late. And then he resigned to go coach the University of Virginia. So I've got 2 3s. I've got 2 7s. I've got another 7. Yeah, I mean, if you want to put Al Groh, yeah, okay. So 7's kind of winning out here. Yeah, for the collapse, didn't make the playoffs. All the other coaches did. You know what? I can make him a 7. All right. It is a little weird considering that he has a winning record, but he never got the team to the playoffs. Pretty crazy. Okay, there's 3 spots left. 1, 3, and 10. Let's spin that wheel. To me, there's only 2 coaches who could be ahead of Parcells. Huh. I've heard of this particular player, of this particular coach. As a matter of fact, he reminds me of a certain saying. How does it go?
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
I had to play that for you guys. All right, Herman Edwards. Yeah, I think this is about as easy as it gets. That's a 3. That's perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah, I would not put him anywhere but 3 on this list. Herman went 39-41, coached 5 playoff games, went 2-3 in those games. Not the best in-game coach in my mind, but got his players to play for him and was very, very, very well regarded. There's, when you think about it, there's a lot of Jets head coaches that had good records, but 1 or 2 bad years at the end kind of knocked them below 500. And Herman is a great example of that. But yep, I would definitely go Herman as the 3. Hank G says 1. I don't know if I would go. I don't know if I put him above Parcells. I don't know. I think Parcells was the better in-game coach. Yeah, and the Jets did have some bad years. They had some good years under Herman. They had some bad years under Herman. Yeah, I think between Parcells and Mangini, I think that makes sense for Herm. I do. All right, so I'm going to go 3 there. So all we have left is the 1 spot and the 10 spot. So we need a coach who's better than Bill Parcells. And to me, like I said, there's only 2 of them. 3, I'll be nice. 3. And with the 10, we need a coach worse than Charlie Winter. And I think there's at least 2 on the list. All right, let's see what happens. Let's spin the wheel. Here we go. We are landing on Adam Gase again, so we're going to respin. Man, we've only got so many coaches, and now we get Mangini. This is where it gets a little bit, crazy with the respins. Okay. And we are landing on, is it Mangini again? Yep, that's a good one, because if we landed on Pete Carroll, I think we would have failed. Okay, Walt Michaels. He is, I think I know where Walt Michaels is going to wind up on the list. And I would say he's one of the 3 coaches that you could rank above Bill Parcells if you want to make that argument. But Walt Michaels he only went 39-47-1, but he came to the team in 1977 when it wasn't very good. He went 2-2 in the playoffs. And here's an interesting note. He is the only Jets coach to win Coach of the Year. The UPI, he was named UPI and Pro Football Weekly Coach of the Year in 1978. All right. So no other coach ever did that. Not Weeb, not Rex, not Parcells. Nobody else ever did that. Not even Todd Bowles did that. Yeah. All right. So Vervain, Carney, and Wildwave are all saying 10. Walt Michaels, you're making a 10? Really? Wow. You don't want me to make Walt Michaels the worst coach? Walt Michaels a worse coach than Charlie Winter? 4 playoff games? Loved by the players? Very well thought of? I'll put him wherever you all want, but I actually thought Walt Michaels would be one of the 3 coaches you could put above Parcells. Ravine, I want the madness when Kotite gets 10. Guys, I don't know how we could put Walt Michaels at 10 below Groh, Gase, and Winter. I know he didn't have the best winning percentage, but he was a good coach. And again, when you win, he's the only coach of the year winner. But then again, if y'all been around longer and you think Walt Michaels was worse than Adam Gase, Charlie Winter, then I'll put him at 10. Because right now I see, I'm seeing more 10s than I am 1s. So it's all up to you. I'll give another minute. Maybe under Parcells, Harlan says, well, here's the thing, man. Spots 2 through 9 are taken. So we either have to make Walt Michaels the best coach on our list or the worst coach on our list. And to me, you can make the argument that Michaels, I don't know if he was better than Parcells, but I think he's kind of like on that level, Yeah, recently passed away too. Yeah, I'll look up 1 or 2 other things on Michaels. Yeah, so 454 winning percentage. Yeah, 2-2 playoff record. And yeah, he actually left the Jets and became head coach of the New Jersey Generals for a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, and there's always a little bit of mystery as to why he got fired. I mean, he did take the team to the AFC Championship game in the strike season, but all right. Right now I'm seeing it looks like we're leaning towards 10. Yeah, right now I see 1 vote for 1, and I see 3 times as many votes for the 10 as I do for the 1. Okay, I'll make Walt Michaels 10, the lowest ranked coach on our list. All right. All right, 1 more spin, and whoever we rank is going to be ranked our top head coach. Above Mangini, above Edwards, above Parcells. Yep, Charlie Winter. Maybe with head coach, I should just do a top 5. Maybe that'd be easier. Adam Gase, respin. And we land on Robert Saleh. Okay, so based off this list, Robert Saleh is the best coach on our list from 10 to 1. Number 10, Walt Michaels. Number 9, Charlie Winter. Number 8, Adam Gase. Number 7, Al Groh. Bruce Coslet. Number 6. Number 5, Joe Walton. Number 4, Eric Mangini. Number 3, Herman Edwards. Number 2, Bill Parcells. And then number 1, Robert Saleh. How did we do on this list? I was feeling pretty good, but at the end of the game, no. I think, I don't know where I'd have to put. I don't know where I would put Saleh. I mean, Saleh. Maybe it's not fair for me to even put the current coach in there, but I would have had him more in the middle of the pack. I mean, the record is the record, but I agree with Wild Wave. I would like to see him actually get a legitimate NFL quarterback. So I don't think we did too bad with the list. I thought we were doing really, really well right up until the end. I actually, I don't know. I don't know if I'd make an argument for flipping Michaels and Saleh, but I think for the most part we had a good list. I really, really do. All right. Well, next week we'll do this again, and hopefully we will still have a playoff race to talk about, and we won't be completely head and shoulders dug into Tankathon. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, this was a whole lot of fun to talk some sports with you, to talk some football. Reminder, stay tuned to New York Sports Wicker Media. I'll do my confidence picks tomorrow. Then upcoming will be a Jets-Dolphins preview, bold predictions for Jets versus Dolphins, and I'm feeling pretty bold about that game. I'm telling you guys, I got to feel it. I got that feeling. And, of course, then we'll do the 3 key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. We'll do that post-game. And, by the way, the Virginia Jets fans, we're doing our White Elephant gift exchange, and Fireball is always certain to be exchanged. So if I'm doing the if the Jets get killed, but I'm still doing it with a smile on my face, it's because I got a whole load of Fireball. All right, everybody. I hope everybody has a great night. Root hard for your Jets. Have a great night, and I'll see you right back here. Carney, you're awesome too. From you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night.